All right, good morning. We will call to order the December 13th coordinating committee meeting of the Erie MPO. First thing we have is if there's any public comment on agenda items. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the September 13th meeting of the coordinating committee?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Jason. Second by Bill. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to tip updates. We have a new gentleman joining us out of Harrisburg. Matt Crea is taking over for Brandon Leach. Matt, I understand that you have quite a bit of experience with the other MPOs, and welcome to the Erie MPO, and take it away.
I appreciate that. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. I look forward to working with everyone in the future. And to get started today, I will be covering the tip modifications in your meeting packet. The first action I will cover is administrative modification number 2, which should be on page 7 of the packet. Yep. And this is a cost increase to the 20 Mile Creek Bridge project. $500,000 in federal BRIP funds were added to the construction phase of the project in federal fiscal year 2025. And the PA 97 French Creek Bridge project was used as the funding source. The second action I will cover is on page 13 of your packet. I believe it's administrative modification number 7. It's right at the top there. This is adding the final design phase of the State Route 4108 Jordan Road to I-90 project. $339,896 in state 185 funding was added in federal fiscal year 2024, and the Erie Central Bayfront project was used as the funding source. The final action I will cover is an informational item, and this is informational item number 5, which would be on page 10 of the packet. This action is actually part of a district-wide action, which adds $303,559 of federal vulnerable road user funds to the District 1 HSIP VRU pedestrian countdown timers project in federal fiscal year 2024. And just to recap, vulnerable road funds are HSIP funds that were converted to VRU funds as part of IIJA to fund safety projects for non-motorists. Now I'd like to take the time to open the floor if anybody has any questions on the actions I covered or any of the administrative modifications or informational items.
Any questions of Matt? All right, I don't think so, Matt. Thank you.
Not a problem. And just to recap, none of these items were amendments, so no vote is required. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. You're going to hang on till second part of the meeting as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you. 20 to 25 to 28 project list with Courtney.
Yes, so between the last meeting that we had and then this one, we had sent out lists of both the bridge projects and the roadway projects with links and locations for everyone to be able to look at. I just wanted to open it back up to see if anybody had any questions on any specific projects or any concerns with the projects that were proposed. Okay, we are planning on going into January with the public involvement time period and everything that we need for the June ratification of the 2025 TIP. We will be able to make changes until the end of December. If something were to come up, and then it will be locked down. And then we'll be starting to go through all the process of making sure everything meets all of the requirements for the funding and everything, and then go for public comment and then ratification in June to start October 1st. So
Alright.
that's all I have.
Any questions of Courtney? All right, moving on to the PM1 safety target adoption. Emily, you wanna
Yeah,
bring us up to date?
so every year annually, we have to set performance targets for safety. So hopefully everyone here is familiar with this process. PennDOT is nice enough to create targets for us to adopt within the federal standards. So should go down. So these are the Erie MPO targets for fatality rates and number of serious injuries, as you can see on the screen, and they mimic the statewide targets. So if someone would like to make a motion to adopt these targets proposed by PennDOT for the Erie MPO region, someone can make a motion now.
All right, motion by Paul. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Brian. All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. And now you have an update on the UPWP program for 2024-2025, Emily?
Yes,
Okay.
so the UPWP, or the Unified Planning Work Program, is the document that defines what the MPO does and the funding that goes along with it. This is a 1-year program, so it will be from July 1st of 2024 to June 30th of 2025. I did get some feedback from Ronnie Bishop at Federal Highways about some edits to the document, but did not receive anything from anyone else. So Ronnie's comments have been incorporated into the document. If anyone else would like to have any questions or discussions about it, we can do that, or we can vote to adopt the UPWP.
Is there any discussion, or would somebody like to make a motion?
Hey, Emily,
approve?
this is Ronique from Federal Highways. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make a couple of comments. Just wanted to tell everybody basically how Federal Highways looks at the UPWP and provides comments back to the planning partners. So in our review of the UPWP, we look at a number of things. One of them is, the budget tables and the budget summaries, making sure that they align with the appropriate funding source that's being distributed to the MPO. So as Emily mentioned, in this case, it would be the planning funds. We also look to make sure we have, we also look to make sure that the UPWP has all of the necessary tasks and deliverables that the MPO is planning to achieve during that time frame. And as Emily mentioned, it is a 1-year update. And to make sure that to make sure that the UPWP has eligible transportation planning activities. So for instance, I know in the UPWP, of course, you have your basic, LRTP, the TIP, the public participation plan, all those things. But in addition, I think the UPWP for Erie, you guys also have other like studies, safety studies, feasibility studies, comprehensive plans, things like that, that also have a transportation nexus. So those are good and eligible to include, but the planning dollars would only be used to fund the transportation part of these plans, and not the plans in their entirety, since they usually encompass more factors in addition to transportation. But the transportation planning task that the MPO, regularly does, as mentioned, I think the UPWP at the beginning, it has that schedule of activities. And so those are like the key components of the UPWP, in addition to the other planning activities that the MPO supports for the region. So just wanted to give that overview of what we look for at federal highways and the type of comments that we provided back. So thanks, Emily, for providing that to us in advance. And if I have anything else, I'll be sure to follow up with you and of course with PennDOT to make you guys aware. But it's a great document, and yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Ronnie. So did we have a motion? No, we did. Do I have a motion to approve the UPWP?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Brian, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Jason. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Continuing on with Emily, the draft title, non-discrimination implementation plan.
Yes.
Please.
So as mentioned in that Unified Work Planning Program, the MPO updates and maintains a non-discrimination implementation plan, which includes the Title VI documents as well. So this is an update of our Title VI plan that is compliant with FTA, Federal Transit Authority, as well as FHWA, Federal Highways. It includes the public participation plan that we have previously adopted, as well as all of the Title VI documents. So we do need to adopt the updates. So if anyone has any edits or conversation or discussion they'd like to have, we can do that now, or again, someone could make a motion to adopt.
Any input either in person or online? Anybody have anything to add to this? And do I have a motion to adopt?
This is Dave online. I move we accept the plan as presented.
Thank you, Dave. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Paul. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Oh, Leanne, share of the $5 local use fee fund.
Okay, so the $5 local use fee subcommittee met in October. We presented 2 reallocations to TAC, which we're now presenting for vote on the coordinating committee. The Etter Road Bridge, due to low bids, had an excess of $275,342. We are recommending that they be reallocated to one Beeson Road Bridge in Washington Township. After design was started, a scope change was made from a superstructure replacement to pole replacement. There were $90,574.32 to cover that change. Francis Road Bridge in Girard Township, after design was started, the scope was changed from a composite deck installation to add the replacement of beams. So that change would be $189,412.16.
Okay. Do you need these in a separate motion, each of them? You want them? Okay. Do I have a motion to allocate to Beeson Road in Washington Township as well as the Francis Road Bridge in Girard Township? Do I have a motion? Motion by Bill?
Second.
Second by Brian. Any discussion on these?
Just a question on
Yep.
such a drastic reduction in cost. Is there an explanation?
It was a low bid. Actually, we had budgeted higher,
Okay,
and then the low bid came in really low.
Don't see that often.
no.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just wonder, someone missed something or? Thank you.
Alrighty, so we had a motion and second. All in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 9, amendment to, oh,
Real quick.
Go right ahead,
before we move to the next agenda item, since we're talking about local bridges, I wanted to bring up that we had started, a couple local use fee meetings ago. There was discussion about grouping 7 projects, 7 local bridges into one waterproofing contract that PennDOT would do the design work and then, would let to be done. We started moving forward with it. We went into the reimbursement agreements with the individual municipalities. In the end, there were 6 structures that were interested in participating in the project. And when we got to the point where we wanted to start looking at scoping them, and getting ready to start looking at them, we realized that the bridges, not all of those structures were composite decks, which are necessary in order for us to be able to do the waterproofing that was suggested. So what we are proposing is starting with 2 of the 6 structures. We would be looking at doing Evans Road and Old Lake Road. Doing the upgrades that are needed. One needs a composite deck, the other one does have the composite deck. And waterproofing those with the allotment of money that we had taken from the local bridge line item. That is BOF state and local match. And starting with those 2 and then looking at adding the other ones that would qualify to do this waterproofing, with the additional line item funds in the next few years. So start with those 2, get them out for construction, then look at doing another project with the remaining bridges that we can do a waterproofing on, with bringing up the deck if possible, starting in 25, 26 with construction in 27. It doesn't require a vote or anything like that. I just wanted to make sure everybody here was aware of that, and was answered any questions that anyone might have.
great.
So,
Thank you.
okay, we'll be reaching out to the municipalities to let them know what's going on next.
Okay. Agenda item 9, amendment to the 2050 long-range transportation plan. Emily?
Yes, so at our last coordinating committee meeting, you might remember, Fairview came to discuss a study they had conducted on Route 98 Avonia Road in Fairview. That study recommended, their highest priority from that study was doing an intersection improvement on McCray Road and PA 98. So at our last meeting, we discussed, well, it needs to get in the long-range transportation plan next and then go for funding. But if Fairview would like to pursue any grant funding, currently, if it's in the long-range transportation plan and is adopted as at least a priority for this group, we can say that we would help support any grant applications that they would go out for while waiting for tip dollars to actually get programmed. So basically this amounted to adding a few sentences to the LRTP, just saying that the MPO supports that project that Fairview does. And it's just 2 sentences on page 115 of the LRTP. But since it is a change, we would need to adopt that. So it's not assigning any funds to the project or ranking the project. All it is saying that the MPO supports that project if Fairview goes out for any grant dollars.
Great. Do I have a motion to approve that amendment to the LRTP?
So moved.
All right, motion by Brian. Seconded by Bill. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next agenda item is 2024 MPO meeting schedule. We are still working on locations and times for that. So we're going to skip that agenda item for now and touch base as soon as we can. And then we will move on to agenda item number, am I right on that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Move on to agenda item 11, agency updates, and back to Courtney for any, is Courtney you gonna do the update?
Well, both Mark and I
Okay.
wanted to just bring up, first, We had been talking over the last few meetings about the project at Green Garden. The bid had come in high. We rebid it with what changes that we could potentially make. And it still came in at $22,000 over what was awarded to the project. When you add inspection to that, they are looking at needing an additional $78,056 to cover the project above the $350,000 that had been awarded to them. We had talked about waiting to have this conversation after we had let the Bayfront and Cranberry project to see what those bids came in at, to see what we had of CRP funds after that project was let and we knew where we stood with it, to see if we could possibly look at moving forward with getting CRP funds to pay for the Green Garden project. I wanted to just bring up that if everyone is okay, because Bayfront and Cranberry did come in at $63,187 under what we had programmed, that we could look at proceeding with giving the Green Garden project roughly $78,000 in CRP funds, if it qualifies for CRP funds. We haven't looked into that yet since the bids just happened last week. And then taking the remaining from that 68,000 from the line item. Does anyone have any concerns with us doing that or issues? It does not warrant a vote. It already has federal funds on it. We're not looking for an increase that causes anything unless anybody would like to make a motion for it because they feel that it would be beneficial to have it officially on record. We don't need one. I just wanted to make sure there was nobody that had any concerns. And if we were okay with proceeding with investigating whether we can use the CRP funds. And if we can, moving forward with awarding those to that project.
Okay.
And that is carbon reduction.
Carbon reduction,
program
yes, yeah. Mhm.
And for a bike lane.
Yes.
So it should.
It should qualify, yes, it should. Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, then we will proceed with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Courtney, for your hard work.
Go ahead, Mark, sorry.
Just looking at the project newsletter, a couple of updates. Depot Road, the PS&E submission is in the district office. Contract management unit is working on getting that bid package prepared in ECMS, but we're still waiting on the right-of-way clearance. Central office has supposed to today return the DT documents to us, which still needs a little bit of time to go through the recording of those. But we're still hopeful to make our let date, and I think it's in March. Jumping down to Jordan Road. That project, we have completed the preliminary engineering phase. The environmental document has been approved, so we are now in final design. So we'll be working through completion of the PS&E package, final design, and also right-of-way acquisition for that project. And that's scheduled for June letting next summer. 20B15, it's Route 20 over 20 Mile Creek Bridge. They're still in preliminary engineering phase. Right-of-way plan was submitted to the district office and that is being reviewed. And they're also working on public involvement documents and setting up a public meeting. That's scheduled for fall 2024 let. Last but not least is the resurfacing project of Peach Street Route 19 from Oliver to Rotunda Drive. We should be having a design field view submission any day now for that project. So it's moving ahead pretty well. I believe it's scheduled for a March letting as well. So any questions or any other projects?
If not, I've got one other update on the Bayfront. I'll give it a minute. Any questions for Mark? Okay. So I just wanted to mention that I think it has been mentioned before, and I think it was the May, I don't remember if that was a TAC or a coordinating committee meeting. I gave an update on the status of a couple of grant opportunities that we had been going for. So I probably don't have the dates right in my mind, but we did go for a federal grant to fund the Sassafras pedestrian bridge, which was unsuccessful. And then just recently, we did submit for another federal grant for basically a lot of different trail and sidewalk and crosswalk and other pedestrian type improvements along the Bayfront Parkway, really from the west all the way to the east. So greater than even the scope of the current project. But when I was making those comments, I know I said some things about the Sassafras pedestrian bridge that, you know, because we're not successful in obtaining those funds, that we were looking at other things. I didn't want to give the impression that we were walking away from that idea. And Tom pointed out to me that as we looked at, you know, Emily, as that snippet of the long range plan was just up on the screen. It's still, you know, on there. It's ranked number 7 for the Erie MPO. So I just wanted to let the committee know that we are still, you know, that project is not off the table. We're still actively pursuing funds for it. We're just going to keep our eyes open for those, you know, best opportunities.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks.
All right. Ronique, are you still with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. It's my turn for the updates, I'm assuming.
Yes,
Let
it
me
is.
get them up. Yeah, I just have a few updates, not too many. I just wanted to make everybody aware that shortly before the Thanksgiving holiday, Federal Highway published a final rule for the greenhouse gas emissions performance measure. So this is a new performance measure. We've been talking with PennDOT more about this and what this would require them to do to meet the deadline to establish targets and for the MPOs to follow suit. There is a public webinar today to talk more about this. It's from 11 to 12:30, but we are planning to distribute the slides from this meeting, and hopefully there will be a recording as well, and that will be shared widely once we get that link. So wanted to mention that. And then also we have some notice of funding opportunities that are now available. One is for the Raise Discretionary Grant Program, and the application deadline for that is February 28th. And the other one is for Advanced Transportation Technology and Innovation Program. And that deadline is in February as well, February 2nd. So I will provide some more information on what those grant programs, you know, eligibilities are. And also in November, Department of Transportation, we published a newer version of our guidebook for promising practices for meaningful public involvement. So that document is updated and now live on the web page. So I'll provide all of these links, but those are the high level announcements that I wanted to share with the MPO today. So other than that, I don't have anything. And as always, thank you for having me. And let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ronique. Any questions before Ronique, or we move on? All right, Matt, do you have any other central office updates for us?
Yes, I just have one quick update on my end. PennDOT has just announced program details for round 1A of the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure, more commonly known as NEVI, funding opportunity. The proposal period opened on December 11th and will close on January 26, 2024 at 5 p.m. We also have an interactive map that people can look at to see which areas can compete for the round 1A funding opportunities, and I will drop that link in the chat box, as well as a NEVI resources webpage with all your NEVI information needs. So if anybody has any questions or concerns on that, please feel free to contact me. Yep, and that's all I had.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Any questions of Matt?
Yeah, this is Dave online. I have a quick question. Matt, is that still corridor only?
apologize. I'm checking my notes here. I believe so, but let me get confirmation on that and I can follow back up with you, Dave.
Sure, thanks.
I appreciate that.
All right, and Dave, as long as you're by the mic, do you have any updates from EMTA?
Sure, a couple. We've got 6 new CNG buses that have arrived and they'll be on the road right after the new year. We've had, our ridership continues to increase. We're anticipating that we should hit about 1.4 million rides by the end of the year. And right now, we've got our EV charging power needs RFP out, and maybe Emily could say a bit about it. It looks like we're getting some decent response to it so far.
Yeah, I can mention something on that. So as you all know, through our previous Unified Work Planning Program at UPWP, the MPO is funding a EV charging station or EV charging station study with EMTA. So it is out for bid right now, and we've had a lot of interest from around the country. So I'm hoping we get a lot of input into contractors that want to do this study here in Erie. It closes on December 19th. So if you know of any companies that like studying the power grid and installation of EV charging, please send them to the county in order to complete that RFP by the 19th.
Yeah,
Okay.
my real hope with that study is that we're going to get some real specific information about the load capacity, the hosting capacity on the lines, at least the line into the Bayfront, into the intermodal, and up here on 14th Street, because I keep hearing, I've heard that we have 3 power generation facilities supplying Erie, and that the lines and the power that's coming is around at 96%. I'm hoping to get some verification of what the actual capacity on those lines is, because everybody seems to be looking to put electric charging and electric fleets on the road. We just really have to make sure that we're going to have the power to do it. And then finally, my last thing is that, annually we have a Stuff the Bus event for Toys for Tots, and this year we broke all records. We had over 40 big boxes filled. We literally stuffed the bus up at Mill Creek Mall. So, and that's all.
Okay, all righty. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Emily and I just having a side chat. Moving on to other business, vulnerable road user safety assessment. Emily, please.
Yes, I just quickly wanted to mention that there is a vulnerable road user safety assessment report that has been done for the entire state. And it does have a lot of good information in it about vulnerable road users. So pedestrians, bicyclists, people not in a vehicle, basically. So it's a great resource out there. And there's a link in the agenda itself, and this is what the first page looks like. So I just encourage everyone to take a look at that.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Emily. If nothing else, is there any other public comment? Hearing none, we will reach out to everyone and let them know a meeting schedule as soon as possible for 2024. Thank you for a great year. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and we will see you in 2024. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Brian. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
The last I heard, we were hearing something that,